Good afternoon and welcome to Titan Talk. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. Today you have myself, Lieutenant Coop, and I have Lieutenant Lulu with me today. Thank you for joining me. You're never going to live
Glad to
down.
be back. Glad to be back.
He hates me.
Kind of, slightly. I already drank half my water. This is not good.
I'm never going to let that die, by the way.
I know. A lot of people don't.
No, that was perfect. So, Brian Lulu.
Brian. Is he already here?
He is. Thanks for joining us, Brian.
Brian's the biggest culprit at keeping that alive.
I told Leon to join us so he could berate you online.
Why?
He said he'd try. I don't know if he'll show up.
Why?
So thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate it so much. Today we're going to do two topics. We're going to do Officer of the Month. We want to give a shout out to this individual. He's been doing a hell of a job for us for, 5 going into 6 years now. He's been with us for a while.
Yeah.
And he had an incident recently. We won't give a whole lot of detail out because we don't, it's not something I like doing. But he had an incident recently that earned him Officer of the Month, and he did an outstanding job with it. Just phenomenal. And we can't appreciate him so much. We appreciate him so much. There we go.
Or we can. We can appreciate him.
We appreciate him so much for all the hard work and dedication that he's done and throughout the years. And I have argued with him for the entire time to go full time, and he can't, but soon he will. And I can't wait for that because I'd love to have him full time officer just because of the quality and the type of person that he is. So
very, very seldom do you see an officer that can last that long in this kind of line of work. The stuff that you hear, the people that you interact with.
The job is very difficult, and to do it part time like him and still want to go full time when he's able to go full time, it's an amazing thing to see, and I absolutely love it. So again, thank you guys so much. Brian says he's my favorite.
You know what Brian said to me? Did you hear him in the all hands meeting?
No.
He said something about Lululemon, and I was like, Brian, you can't talk when you're wearing Doc Marten shoes. And they weren't Doc Martens, but they were like those duck shoes.
I don't know.
I don't know what they're called.
I don't know. Brian, what shoes were you wearing?
Brian's got a funky style.
He's got a great style.
And he's got it's a great style, but it's like I used to BDU pants, and he's skinny. He wears skinny
there's
jeans.
A difference.
So
we're in the field most, that's what we're afraid.
Yeah, he wears skinny jeans and Doc Martens.
And he's the admin side, and he's the guy that keeps us safe and monetized and stuff like that. And we're the lunks in the field.
But he's so good. He's so good with those little jokes. You know?
Absolutely.
Like, he's
Brian
so
can
quick.
just out of nowhere just catch you like that.
And he's kind of like a lot of us, where we'll say a joke, but we won't show any type of change in emotion, so you can't really tell if it's a joke or not at first until you like think about it, and then you're like.
He goes, I don't know what kind of shoes those are. I just think it's kind of weird that he looks at my clothes all the time.
That's fair. Well, okay. If he's coming at me for my clothing, I got to be ready to hit him back with his.
All right, so we're getting a little off topic. It's great. It's hilarious. Excuse me. So we're going to talk a little bit about our Officer of the Month. Officer of the Month this month is Tom Meli. So congratulations, Tom. You did a great job out there with the incident that you were dealing with. Again, I'm not going to give a ton of information with it just because I don't like doing that. But you did a phenomenal job with it and handled it great. So congratulations on getting Officer of the Month. With Officer of the Month, he gets that nice little plaque that he can hang up on top of a challenge coin. And then we publicly broadcast his name across.
Challenge coins are new. Did we ever go over the challenge coins?
I don't think so.
I don't think we ever actually talked about them.
No, we didn't. I just realized that. You're 100% correct. We didn't. And I don't have one on me.
Neither do I. Anyway, we have challenge coins. I don't know if anybody's like, if anybody knows any type of like law enforcement or military stuff, the challenge coins, we came up with Titan ones, and those are going to be, I think we only had a certain amount of them made.
Yeah, so we started with a small, I know we started with a small batch because we were testing them out and seeing how everybody liked them. I recently started, not a collection, it's a collection, call it what it is, of challenge coins, and it was really cool to see that we got our own.
Yeah.
So it was it's really cool to see little things like that. I know it doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but to somebody who like me, who's a lifer in this company, I will never go anywhere else. And to see little things like that can be as a reward, it's different. It's not the same thing. It's completely different than what you would get outside in a regular company. And to me, it brings a little bit more of the style of what we do as a culture to what we are. To us as individuals, and to say, hey, here's this coin that you can use. What I'm waiting for and I don't know if we'll ever get to this point, but with the challenge coin idea, I think it would be really cool to get a challenge coin for like Chief Leon, the owner for Ryan. Cool. And so if you do something that's really outstanding and you get you get to meet the president of the company and he hands you a challenge coin for doing that, and to you be able to have that and say, oh, I've got a challenge coin from Ryan Smith, or I've got a challenge coin from the chief of security.
Well, I think it's also cool because God bless. I thought it was cool that we had a lot of them for the draft, and it's big when a bunch of different law enforcement agencies come together. They'll all just
what's funny
pass
is
out.
I actually brought a couple to the NFL draft, knowing that there were challenge coins going to be traded, and I went up to one of the K9 units, and I said, hey. I said, I'm not law enforcement. I like to have private security. And he giggled and he goes, I know. And I know you know. I'm saying this because what I'm about to say is going to catch you off guard.
Yeah.
I have a challenge coin. And he looked at me and he goes, what? I go, yeah, I got a challenge coin. And I want to trade for one of yours. And he goes, I love it. He goes, why do I want a security company's challenge coin? My exact answer is because nobody else will have it.
Yep,
and
exactly.
he goes, and the look on his face, he goes,
That's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah,
and it was right away.
Right.
And of course, right after that, I think we gave out 4 or 5 more.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
But I think it can also I know with mine, I pass it down to the person that I thought it will follow in my shoes, and I think that'll be a cool kind of tradition that I started with this
the guy
person.
who's following my shoes. I don't really want to give him a challenge coin. It's brown.
He already has one.
Oh yeah.
But I mean the person that came from officer and is following in my footsteps.
No, I think
and trains with me and works with me the most.
There's the military. The military does something. I think it's with silver dollars, and I don't remember what branch it is. So if you know what I'm talking about and you know the branch, throw it in chat so I can look at it and I can say it and I can actually give them full props for it. But there's a branch of the military, and when they give you a silver dollar, or you get a silver dollar, or you have one or whatever, you go find one. I don't remember that entire thing, but at graduation of boot camp. And it's not regular boot camp. It's like the specialized version.
Yeah.
When you graduate, as you're leaving, you give a silver dollar to your drill instructor, and as a sign of appreciation, he takes a silver dollar, and he puts it in. He puts it in his right pocket. But for the class president, I guess you could say, like the top of the class, the top 2 or 3 of the class that he knows they're going to do, he puts it in his left pocket, and those are the ones he keeps. And he uses them as mementos. And so it's really cool that I think that's kind of leads into something like that, where you have those 1 officer, 2, 3 officers that you see that could go from being a base level officer to patrol supervisor or patrol to patrol supervisor, from patrol supervisor to day shift supervisor, from day shift supervisor to lieutenant, and nurture that and use that as a, something similar to that nature, where you give them, hey, I see great potential in you, and I want you to have. I think that's a great thing to do, because it nurtures that.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely a cool thing that we had, and I like the idea of us not mass producing them and making because we have shirts, we have you can buy more gear and all this stuff, but I think that the challenge coins is one thing that you can't buy, and I think that's what makes it really special.
We used to do the shirts that we have the 4 different types. We have the standard, where it's got the Casey Mill on the back, and then we've got the Shepherd Dog one, we've got the OC one, and then there was the Score one. And when we first made the Shepherd Dog and the OC, the only 2 ways to get those, the Sheepdog, I keep trying to say Wolf Dog, the Sheepdog, the only way to get it was to do similar to the challenge coin.
Yeah.
You would do something extraordinary when we get you a shirt in your size, and we would give it to you. And that was the only way to get it. That's how I got mine.
Right.
And then the OC one, the only way to get that was to get sprayed.
Yeah.
It was the only 2 ways you could get those shirts. And then due to reasons, we had to stop spraying people and stuff like that. And so everybody was consensual. They signed forms. It was all 100%.
Legal.
Perfectly
it was
fine.
Legal.
We weren't just walking up to you in class going, you get a shirt.
Step outside.
But we had to stop doing that, and so we started offering to sell those shirts. And it was cool that we offered them for the longest time, as those were the only ways to get them. And I think having something like the challenge coin is that the only way that you're going to get that is to do something to deserve it.
Right.
I think that's amazing.
Well,
and
yeah,
just
it
to have
kind
this one thing dedicated to it is
I think it kind of
awesome.
also goes towards the CAP program, the endorsements and stuff. You know, saying that you're endorsed by whatever lieutenant endorsed you it's pretty cool to be able to say, even if it puts you in that pool where you're just kind of in limbo, you know, waiting for a supervisor position to open up, or for one, you know, to open.
So we got right here, got one from Captain. They're awesome. Added some of the Army challenge coin collection, and see that's the thing. It's the really cool thing about us having that challenge coin is no other security company has that.
Right.
At least not one I know of. And I did a little research beforehand because I looked into it before we actually went through with it a long time ago because I thought it was a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Just couldn't get the traction on it because there wasn't any pull behind it. Now with the Officer of the Month and all this stuff, there's that pull behind it, and it's great. But to have that as a security company and be able to say, hey, and to present that, I think is amazing. Just
Which
absolutely.
I think it's just Titan in general. I think that
I don't think it was Army. I want to say it was Marines, but I'm not 100% sure, Beatty.
I think that's a big thing with Titan is that you know we're
count.
local and a lot of people take pride in
Not yours.
working for Titan.
Billy,
What?
that doesn't count. You have to get sprayed by me. Then you get the shirt.
Oh.
She goes, I got sprayed at work. I want one. No, you got to get sprayed by me.
Yeah, no, yours was just happened to happen. You know, yours wasn't during training or anything.
Let's see. Brian, we are not doing challenge Crocs. That is not going to happen. Of course, you would be the one. I could see you being the one to bring him into check out my challenge Crocs.
Yo, no. How about like the challenge like Croc decal, not the Crocs, because we're not buying Crocs, but like you know the little art stuff that you can put in the holes.
No. What?
Yeah, there's like little pin things
Like
almost.
that you put in a Croc.
Yeah, like you know how there's like a bunch of holes all over
I
the
know
Croc?
what a
They're like just little plugs that you just put in there, and it's like little art stuff.
Please tell me you're joking.
Oh, I'm not.
I'm
sure Brian can make one.
They make a jewelry for your Crocs.
Yeah. Yeah. You can get like footballs and baseball and stuff like that.
Beatty, tell Lieutenant Shaughnessy I say hi from Beatty.
Oh, Beatty knows that I'm not happy with him right now. Beatty knows. It's okay.
I want to ask, but I don't want to ask at the same time. We'll talk.
I'll tell you afterwards. But he's
Now I want to hear about about Irish's arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts
experience.
I don't have any. I barely can draw a stick figure. Like,
And now I've seen people put spikes on Crocs, like those ones that screw and stuff like
yeah,
that. I've seen
no,
that.
and that's kind of what they are. But there's like
They make actual like regular.
you can get basemballs and footballs and stuff. It's like a
Seriously?
sport thing. Yeah.
That's
I remember
so
there was
weird.
one kid in my school that had he was a swimmer and were decked out because they would just get out of the pool and they'd throw their Crocs on. They were decked out. They were so cool.
Like, and so this isn't a new thing. This has been
This has been a long time.
Wow. Okay, I really am out of it.
Brian, you got to make those. You got to get them started.
Brian, do not make those. Please do not make those.
Because you're right. Don't make those, Brian, because then we're going to start showing up people out of boots and they're in Crocs at work. And
I just don't want to see that on someone's foot. Like, that's just really weird.
I think Crocs in general are weird.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. I think Hey Dudes are pretty cool. Those are good.
I've seen those. I've never worn them.
They're comfortable. They're like comfortable only because they're so thin that they just feel like you're not wearing shoes.
I recently just got a pair of, and this is hilarious. I don't ever wear slippers, like ever, or sandals or anything like that. I wear slippers, but I don't wear sandals. And shut up. And I got Ofus or something like that. It's Oofos, I think is how you spell it. If Lieutenant Ortiz was here, she'd know what they were called. But they're bit like sandals. They have a bunch of different styles, and those are probably the most comfortable pair of footwear that I've ever owned in my life. It's like walking on clouds, dude. It's amazing.
I can't wear.
They're meant for
I
like
can wear slippers.
sports injuries and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
dude, they're amazing.
Are they?
Oh yeah,
Nice.
love them. Every time I get home, boots come off. Those go on.
I can't wear shoes indoors. I can't. I don't know why.
Those are the only ones I can. Only ones. Like normally, I would just come home, boots come off, and I'm walking around barefoot in the house.
I don't know why.
But
it's going
dude,
on.
with those, absolutely.
I like those Birkenstocks. I used to wear Birkenstocks
Potter.
a lot.
Mr. Potter, if you continue, I will stop you from being able to talk.
What did he say?
I'm not saying it. Everybody can see it. Billy says, "Hey, dudes are so comfy." He says, "Koopy McSlips."
Huh?
Koopy McSlips. Potter, if you keep this up, I'm gonna look at the camera for you right here. Keep it up. I'm gonna disable your chat function.
Brian's gonna be banned from the podcast. Oh my god, that was actually funny. See, those are the little things that I was talking about, where he's just like he just slides it in, just on the spot. Yeah.
But yeah,
I was gonna snap too, but then it would be weird if we both snapped.
like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so back to topic. we went way off.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations, Tom. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Tom. Yes, let's go all the way back there.
I kind of wanted to give a little history on Tom. He's been with us for a very long time. I was actually Tom's first supervisor. When he started with me with a bank client that we had a long time ago. And Tom's been with me he's been with us ever since then. And Tom's always been an awesome worker.
That was when TVs were black and white, right?
We're just not going to hear from him anymore. No, that was just after.
Okay. Yeah. No, yeah, of course. Right as Charlie Chapman got off the...
I hate you.
Whatever, keep going.
So much. Brian, give me another snappy comeback.
No, Brian,
for
don't
him.
help him.
But Tom's been with us for a very long time. He was after that he did a lot of our grocery stores, and he did a lot of odds and ends for me because he's always been part-time, and I have had clients fighting over him the entire time he's been with us from week one. After week one, I got a call from the bank he was at, and they're like, "You can't ever take him." I'm like, "Well, I kind of need him at other places."
Yeah, right.
And they're like, "No, he can never leave. Like, can we have him full time?" I was like, "That's never going to happen.
Yeah,
like not for the foreseeable future, at least." And they're like, we want him. I was like, "That's great. Everybody else does too."
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Oh, those are the toughest ones. You know, you have an officer that goes through and they get compliment after compliment, and they're like, "We want him back." And we're like, "Oh, but you can't have him back yet."
I had an officer. I have had two officers probably within the past 4 months that I've actually got calls from the client and requested to stay at a specific site. And one of them was real simple. I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And then she went to another site of the same clients, and then that manager called me and was like, "Hey, I want to keep this officer." I got to talk to your boss because I can't exactly. I was like, "I got to talk to your boss." And so I called her boss. I was like, "Hey, just so you know, they're fighting. And they're going to fight over this officer." And she called me. She goes, "We'll leave him at the second place." And I was like, "That's going to cause
backlash on the
And so I did that. I moved her, and I got a call from the first manager. Like, "Where'd my guard go? Where did she go?" And I was like, "You're going to want to talk to your boss because I got orders from your boss to do something."
Those are tough ones. One that I remember, and I'm not trying to take any spotlight off of Tom, but Corporal Whitelock. No, he was that same situation.
Dude,
every client, it was
every time.
They'd be like, "We want him back," and we're like, that's awkward. Good luck.
Brant, if you're watching this, you can't be in front of any more clients. Between you, Tom, and a few others, I can't take it.
No, they're the ones that we strategically put out.
Absolutely, because we get the most. They make it the easiest. They get to the client, and no matter what situation the client's in, those are the officers that I know will calm the client down and make the client happy. And I love that we've got a ton of those officers, and it's so hard to recognize everybody at the same time.
It took me a while to realize, because I was looking at Tom and I was like, I remember this guy. Him and I shot at range. He shot right next to me, so that's kind of cool that him and I had that connection before I even knew him back when I was an officer. So that was cool.
Before you even knew who he was.
Yeah, exactly.
You can tie back. But no, so congratulations, Tom. Great job. Phenomenal effort. We appreciate everything you've done for us the entire time that you've been here. Keep up the good work, my man, and we appreciate you so much for it. So moving on to the next one, we wanted to go back into our career corner. We've done this one in the past. Billy says, "I've had the pleasure of meeting Tom. Tom's great. He really is."
Good job, Billy.
Thank you for derailing me.
Congratulations.
But so we want to get back into the career corner. This is the second time we've done this, and we kind of want to make this a regular thing where we talk about advancement in careers here at Titan, because I believe that this is a lifelong job. This can be a career, not just a option that move to start here and go to PD, or this could be a long-term endeavor for somebody. And it is for a few of us. There's a few of us that have been here 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, and very few, but there are a few of us that have. Again, not counting two people in particular because we don't count them because that's cheating. Ryan. Yeah. But this, and I wholeheartedly believe that being able to show that and show the upward progress that you can make in this company is absolutely, it's so different, and I don't want to say it's deserved when you move up in this company. It's not just you were the only option.
You don't move without.
You've earned that privilege. You've earned those.
You've earned your position.
To be able to say that with a company is just awesome.
Yeah. Well, and I know a lot of officers that started coming here because either they were in the police hiring process or they wanted some training before they they got into that line of work just to see how they liked it, and they ended up just deciding, hey, this is where I'd prefer to stay.
Funny enough, that was me.
Yeah, I mean, it was me, it was Brown, it was Whitelock, it was everybody.
I started with the company a decade ago, and you started with me, and
decade. Those are the hundreds, right? 100 years is a decade. What's a decade?
10 years.
No.
I really hope you actually knew that.
I knew what it was, but I just wanted to say 100 years. Regardless, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop derailing us.
But I started with the intention of going law enforcement, and I think I was year 3, and I was looking around, and I'd seen the growth that we had, and I was like, "No, this is it." Like being law enforcement would be great, and I would love the opportunity. I said, but this right here, I can make a good difference doing what I'm doing in this company, and I can try and make this company better. And I think that we have just absolutely expanded and grown and blown up and become the absolute best out there for a security company and offering that step before you get to law enforcement. And I think that's just awesome.
Well, I think a lot of people are thinking more.
Charles, thanks for joining us.
Of the career, aspect of it, building a career and stuff. And I think that the only way that I could describe the way that I think of it is how our president, Ryan Smith, sees the company in general. Like you and I, ours is, what are we doing today? How are we getting next week done? But Ryan Smith is like above it all, looking miles ahead.
Oh yeah,
Ryan all that
plans
stuff
for the decade.
Exactly, and that's kind of how I see it. Where you see the growth and you see how much the company is expanding, and I'm like, okay, so if I can move up now, I can only imagine where we're going to be.
And I think it take it a little bit further than that. I think when you look at it, and you break it down like that, I think you have the guys like the field officers who look at day to day. What do I do today? How do I handle this client? How do I do that? And then you have our patrol supervisors and our patrol officers who are looking maybe 2 or 3 days in advance. How do we help this? How do we do that? And then you've got you guys, which would be you, Lieutenant Brown, Corporal Whitelock, Lieutenant Fields, Lieutenant Voss, who are looking at today, tomorrow, the next 4 or 5 days.
Right.
And then you've got my level, which would be me, Lieutenant Ortiz, Lieutenant Rosas, Cat McFarland, and we're looking at like the next month and a half.
I think ours is more like
Ryan, who's looking at the next 10 years.
What's going on.
That difference is what I think that's what makes us the best companies.
And
we're
I think
not just focused on the immediate; we're focused on everything on the
right.
future.
Everybody's got their own part of where they're looking. I mean, majority of the 4 that you said, me
as of right now, Billy, no,
me, Brown,
but it's a no for now. It could be in the future. Jesse, we had anything planned for Colorado?
Oh, no. Anyway,
not at the moment.
The four that you said, me, Brown, Fields, and Whitelock, we're looking at the complaints that we got of repetitive stuff happening at a site, and we're like, how can we, counteract this with whatever officers are going out there then, and then it comes down to the officers of us telling them, hey, this is the issue that we're having, and the ones that go above and beyond are the ones that are also thinking, how can I, from my 8 hours or 12 hours that I'm going to be here, how can I change what the past people have been doing and making.
How do I improve that view?
Exactly. So theirs is very day to day or the next day or something like that. When ours is a week out, 2 weeks out, and then obviously, I'm kind of just repeating what you said already. But
Beatty, I just saw your comment. You're never allowed to leave as well. You're a lifer with us. So when you get back, you're stuck here.
Beatty frustrates me. He calls me on like a weekly basis, and it's just like, yeah. So I'm gonna interview with a PD, and I'm like, no, you're not. You're coming back.
You're not allowed to leave. You're stuck here for life with me. So that ties into our career corner. So our career corner for today, I wanted to talk about grocery stores and that type of endeavor where you're standing in front of the public, not just in front of our clients, but in front of their patrons. Yep. And what are they looking for? What are the things that make you stand out to them that show that you're there to do better, not just for them, but like for their patrons and to improve, because we're not there to hinder anybody. We're there to improve the experience that they have while they're at that location. And so what are the things that you think would impress or make the client happy? What's their perspective? What are they looking for? That type of thing. And that leads into the growth path of Titan.
Right. So I think everybody starts out at, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to keep clearing my throat. I think everybody starts out at grocery stores. I think we've talked about that. Yeah,
I say
talked about
big
that a
majority.
lot. Especially if you're coming in with no security experience.
Yes.
And I think the grocery stores are a great great place to start because, you would get to the apartment buildings or the office space, security, stuff like that. And you see the same people over and over and over again, right? But at a grocery store, this could be this person's first time ever seeing our company. So you are the first image of our company that this person's getting. And I think that's definitely a big responsibility to hold, right? But it's not extremely difficult to make it a good first impression.
It's really not. One of the things that being a supervisor as long as I have, I've run unarmed department on my. Don't start with me again.
I didn't.
I ran an entire unarmed department during the day shift. That was my division, and then I've run some of the grocery stores that we have as the direct supervisor for those. And a lot of the times that I see where we have officers in those types of settings, the basics are super easy and everybody can grasp those. Yep. But it's those little steps that you take that bring the, I don't want to say customized, but bring the little extra to it. It's like the little above and beyond where you say good morning, you wish them to have a great day as they leave.
That's just common courtesy.
Right. Those little common courtesy things, you don't get that a lot anymore. And so to have someone standing there in a uniform that says as you walk in, hey, good morning, how are you doing today? Or have a great day as you leave. I mean, I think that adds that extra personality to it that just goes above and beyond. And I think having that at those client sites, especially in those very public settings of grocery stores or schools or things like that, I think just adds this extra little personality to it. Right. It improves that perspective for the client that not only do they have someone here to help keep me safe, they're observant, they're greeting, they're very polite and friendly, and it just brings this extra little step to it that makes the client feel more at ease.
And I think in today's society, a lot of people we're not enforcing, even though we have the authority to, we're not enforcing, city code or felony crime or anything like that. But a lot of people just want to feel safe. So if you're just standing in the corner, mean mugging everybody that comes in,
nobody feels safe.
Nobody feels safe. Yeah. You just look like an ass. There's no reason to sit here and intimidate people. And I think that's a huge misconception of what people want. And in a grocery store, they just want to feel safe. That's a huge thing. So I mean, every person that's coming in, good morning, good afternoon, how are you doing? Just a little conversation. People love to talk to us as long as it's not taking away from your job duties. As long as you can multitask. But I think that an issue that we run into a lot is every grocery store is going to have different rules. Different clients, different ways they want you to handle situations. And I think that the officers that succeed and do stellar work are the ones that ask. They
can adapt.
They'll call us. They'll ask us what the policies for this one is, or they'll go through the SOP book that we have on every single site. And they'll learn what that specific client wants. So then, when I was working at the Price Shoppers, I would talk to the manager and see, hey, where are your problem areas? Where do you with the most? Exactly. So that you can cater to that specific store, that specific area, and that specific client. And I think that shows a lot. As long as you're not going over the top, I think that's a very easy thing for people to do. Just knowing your limit and your role in it is pretty important. But that makes you stick out, We'll get that good rapport of like, hey, this guy was really concerned.
One of the things I learned as a field officer when I first started, it was in an apartment complex in a completely different city. I didn't have anybody able to come out. I was 40 minutes away from the office. I was probably an hour from my closest backup unit. Yeah. And one of the things that I learned working there is, when you talk to people as, working in an apartment complex, it's different than working at a store, store setting. But you get a lot of the same common sense items or courtesy items that you do as you see someone coming into their apartment building. You'd wish them, hey, how's it going? You'd greet them, be polite about it. And one of the things that I think really improved the lifestyle, because I had a few people tell me that they felt great that we were there. They were very thankful for us for being there. It made them feel safer. And I think one of the things that really brings that on is the fact that I was willing to talk to them. Having that little common courtesy as they stop by is that, hey, how's it going today? How was, that little courtesy brings that humanity back to it. And they're like, oh, this is a real person. This person's here to help. This person wants us to feel good and feel safe in our area.
Right.
And so having that at the store level, really having that everywhere, but having that at the store level as you come in to go shopping, that's where, they say accidents happen the most when you're within like 5 miles of home.
Yeah.
And most people shop within 5 miles of home. I do. I shop, I think it's like 3 miles from my house.
It's like 2 minutes.
Yeah. And to have that, where I shop, we have, they have their own security, their in-house security. And every time I walk in, he waves.
Yeah.
There's too many people for him to greet, and he doesn't stand right next to the door. But everyone that I see that walks in, he waves at, and that just brings a little bit back to it that, hey, he's paying attention. He's not buried in something in his phone, or he's not buried
That's a huge one.
In
Oh my
ads.
God.
He's not reading a newspaper. He's not reading a magazine. He's actually being observant, and he's present in the moment with us right now. And that just brings that little bit to it that you're like, I like it.
I think a lot of people can sit here and say that they get bored in grocery stores and stuff, but I think that going out and talking to those people, it's a great way to stay off your phone, for one, because that's just the number one way to just look like you're not paying attention at all. And, and a lot of people are writing reports and stuff like that, which I understand. But if these people are walking by and you're just in your phone and they see Instagram or something pulled up, and they're like, "This is ridiculous." But
because I've got that complaint before that your officer's on their phone, and I go, "Well, what were they doing?" And they go, "Well, let me take a photo." And they'll walk over and they take a photo, and it's a report.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
exactly.
they're filling out a report. And they go, "Oh." And I go, "I understand that their face is in their phone." I said, "Did they say hello to you when you walked in?" "Yeah." "Okay, so they're still being semi-observant, but they're also filing a report right now." So there's some leniency along with that. But when you're looking at Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, that just, it takes away so much and just absolutely puts a hindrance on it.
But talking to people makes it go by faster.
Absolutely.
And I think it's easy for people that are at the same grocery store over and over again for pretty much their permanent post. It's easier to get friendly with the people that you see on a daily basis.
Get cordial, is what I would say. Is get cordial with them. It's funny is when you get to those, it's very similar to working at the apartment complex. I knew, I started to know the people and be very cordial with them. I knew where their apartments were, and when they'd walk into the building, I had a little bit more detail about that individual than normal, and so when I greeted them, I could personalize that a little bit more and make them feel a little bit better about it. It's the same thing at the stores. You get a little bit more, excuse me, cordial with the staff. You know them a little bit more. You know the rotation of them. So when they come in, you can really get a sense of bringing that humanity to it and bringing that perspective perspective and the appearance of having that care and showing that and bringing that level of personality to it. It's amazing.
Well, if you don't have the confidence to say good morning and goodbye to people, then how are you going to have the confidence to, if an assault's right? If an assault's going on, how are you going to have the confidence to go?
Sorry.
You're good. To go and interact with that. I just feel like the more personable people are the ones that people feel more safe around.
Beatty says 75% of the job is customer service. I'd say it's a little bit more than that. I'd say it's 80 or 85% of the job is customer service, because all we deal with is either our clients or their patrons, or depending on where you are, if you're at a school, you've got our clients, the patrons, and their kids.
Right.
And so more of your job is going to be devoted to that customer service aspect and making sure. Excuse me. Making sure that was a yawn. It was me fighting it.
Okay.
Me fighting a yawn.
Sorry.
I don't like doing the whole
No, you're good. You're good. I was confused at first. I thought you were having a stroke.
No. That's my eyes roll back and I stop talking. I fall on the ground.
I was like, okay, we're about to see this live.
No one's that lucky. Well, that's not true. I had a college class that 25 of us were that lucky. 24 of us, because I was the one having the stroke.
There you go. There you go.
But having that just adds that little bit to it. I think it's going to change a little bit based on where you're posted. And at a grocery store, I would say it's probably that 80-85%, because you've got more patrons coming in on a daily basis than most places see ever.
Right.
And I think having that little bit of personality added to it and having that little conversation with it just makes it so much easier. You're 100% correct. It absolutely makes the time go by way faster. Because if you're standing there not talking to anybody, you're counting the seconds.
Yeah.
But if you're greeting people, you're wishing them a good day, you're having that little conversation, you don't pay attention to the time so much. And so it goes by so much faster.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also an important thing to add to that.
Start with me, Billy.
You don't want to go over the top. Like a lot of people.
There's a difference between
standing in one area sucks.
There's a difference between being polite and trying to have a full blown. There's a difference between me saying, hey, good morning, how's the weather for you, versus me saying, hey, how's the Chiefs do?
Yeah.
How'd you think about the Royals game last night? There's a
Right.
massive difference between having the polite, cordial conversation of good morning, good afternoon, have a great day, wonderful weather, hey, that rain sucks, to trying to have a full-blown conversation about how the Chiefs do, the Royals did, or whatever you're conversing about. There's a massive difference between those two, and knowing that difference, that's the key.
Well, I think from like a security standpoint as well, you know, like I was saying, that standing in one area sucks. I get it. You know, it's not the best, but the people that are going around and essentially doing what the client doesn't want, you know, they're like, well, this is better security. No, it's they know what they want, and our job is to just do as the client asks, you know.
Well, and that's the thing, is it's something that a lot of people don't realize is in the beginning, when a client signs a contract for security, we have a conversation with them beforehand. Hey, what are you looking for? And we have that conversation. So by the time it gets to the point that there's an officer on property standing there, the conversation's already been had about what do you want? What are you looking for? What do we think is best? How do we do that? How do we approach it? And how do we manage that together? And so that's already been figured out.
Well, and I think that having a knowledge on just security is big, because, I mean, I don't think he's going to be upset that I say his name, but Officer Soto, I won't say where his post is, but when we first signed with them, they were like, we've never had security. We have no idea what we want. So then Soto was like, okay, I'm going to spend a couple of days and I'll come up with the best plan from my perspective. I'll run it by you guys, and that's what they ended up doing.
And on clients like that, it's the grocery stores, those conversations are had before anybody ever touches anything.
Right.
Before an officer ever steps foot on property, those conversations are had. But those clients exist, and having that where you can adjust and adapt to that and be able to say, hey, so I've been watching for a couple of days, or even at a grocery store, hey, I've been posted here for 3 weeks, and I've noticed that this door and this door are hot points. These are places of interest. I don't know if you guys are already taking a look at that, but I've noticed this.
Yeah.
Clients love that. And you put it in a report for them to see, and they can tag back to, and they can go, hey, you know what? You've had a lot of reports in that area about that back garage door where we load in stuff being a problem. That's, you know, we're going to talk to you. We're going to talk to your supervisors, or we're going to talk internally and figure out what we can do to make that a better area.
Right.
You know, to solve that problem. They love that stuff. And that's that going above and beyond to add into that, and having that, because we'll get the client come to us and go, hey, we've noticed this uptick, or hey, we've noticed that this area is a problem. Your officer's been making reports on it daily, and we've made this adjustment. We want to thank that officer. We get those too, and those are amazing to hear.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of our clients for the grocery stores came from positions, you know, working security in a grocery store, so they have a handle on what they want,
or working with another company and knowing what they don't want.
Right. You know, it's very much not trial and error, but like observe and adapt. Like not observe and report, but observe and adapt. See, hey, this, you know, they're
this
getting
needs
smarter.
to change, or this needs to be better.
Because criminals will think of their best plan.
And I'll tell you know something I've always told officers, and it's always kind of struck me. You will never stop theft. It will always be a thing. And the reason is because you're going to run into people that are better at theft than you are at catching them.
Yep.
And they exist. I've seen it, and I've watched it happen to me, you know, standing at a grocery store and you know, 8 years experience standing at a grocery store covering down for an officer who was sick or whatever the case may be. And I had somebody walk past me and I didn't even notice.
Right.
And I get a call from the client going, hey, did you notice that this individual passed you? I was like, yeah, I watched him like 15 minutes ago. And they go, hey, we need to come check out the cameras. And then I watched him, and I was like, wow, that's absolutely, I never would have caught that.
No, it happened
it's not about catching it. It's about being that visual presence. It's about bringing that safety and that type of presence to it, and doing the best you can in that nature.
No, it happened to me.
Because you're never going to stop theft. It's always going to happen.
I had somebody walk right by me, and I mean, they had it in their hand, but it looked just like a normal Starbucks cup. And it's not so much, you just got to admit that it got by you. But at that point, grab the picture from the cameras, make your report so the client knows.
And then the cool thing about stuff like that is even if it passes you, when you make that report, you can start that. You can be like, hey, here's what we missed, but now we have this, and we can start that file, and so we can keep track of it better.
Right. And it's
and again, that's
due diligence.
And that's something that the clients love, that they point out, and they're like, hey, this was good.
Yeah.
We missed it too. Had you not caught it on the cameras later, had we not caught it on the cameras, we missed it too, but now we can start this, and your officer pointed it out.
Right. I mean, especially like everybody loves a good stop, a good solid stop, a reasonable stop. And we have one officer who constantly is $200 stop, just really killing it. But his reports are super important because the specific client has 10 different grocery stores. They're not going to be watching the cameras for all that stuff. Yeah. They're not going to be on site all the time. So having us there to be, hey, you lost this today. Hey,
helps track it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that a lot of the clients like that. So don't be afraid to admit that something got by you. Nobody's perfect. And I think that's a pretty important thing that, when I found out, I was like, oh, I don't want to tell them.
Yeah.
But I did,
everybody has that reaction. It's like,
pull the cameras, send it off to the loss prevention, stuff like that. And that was it. There's no repercussions that are going to come from that. I mean,
you're doing the best.
Obviously, if it's people walking out 3 carts and they're coming from nowhere near a purchase area, and you're just like, see you later. Like, that's just laziness. But I think if somebody puts something in their pocket, there's no way you're going to see that.
Right.
So,
little things like that where you're able to mention those or you're able to report on those, bringing that little bit of personality to it, just absolutely make you stand out and make us stand out as a company, but make you stand out to the clients, and they report it to us, and they love those little things because that's what adds that little bit of personality that makes them want to continue business and makes them want to have us there because we make the experience better, not just for them, but for their patrons. And that's the key there is we're not there to make anybody's life miserable. We're not there to add stress to anybody. We're there to enhance the experience. We're there to provide a service of protection and make people and have people feel safe when they're there. And those little personalities where you can add in with the good mornings, the good afternoons, the have a good night, hey, the weather sucks, hey, the weather's great, it's hot as I'll get up out there, all of that stuff, and then adding into the reports and adding into those little observations, just make it worlds better.
Right.
And it makes your time go by faster. Even the reports make it, if you're able to do that stuff, your time just flies by.
Yeah.
And that next thing you know, that 8 hours is gone, it's time for you to go home, and hey, we're done.
Right. All the social media and all the people will be there after work, but
yeah,
just do what you got to do at work to make the time go by.
So
it's pretty easy.
But other than that, we'll move on from our career corner, and then we'll move to weather. It's been hot.
Too hot. Way too hot.
It's so hot.
It's so hot. It's got me drinking water. It's hot.
My phone was still on vacation. It had weather for where I was on vacation. It's like, hey, and I'm like, that's not true. So today it has 85. It doesn't feel like 85. It feels like hotter than that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, 97. Real feel 97. There you go. That's better.
That sounds about right.
It's 9 p.m. It's supposed to rain tonight. 50% chance.
Dang it.
So it'll probably won't rain.
No.
Let's see. The weekend holds. Saturday it's supposed to rain. 88% chance of that. Sunday with a temperature of 83. Sunday is going to be sunny with a temperature of 86. And then the Monday through Thursday we're looking at low 90s, low 80 on Thursday.
That's not bad. I can take that one.
Chance of rain on Wednesday. So it's going to be hot. So stay hydrated. I know I say this every time. I'm probably going to say it for the rest of my life on this podcast because I think it's important, is staying hydrated. And again, I'm going to say this, and I think Brown gave me a hard time about it the last time, but was hydration is the day before, not the day of.
Brown gives everybody a hard time. Brown just likes to give hard times.
I'll trade temps. What? We need the rain. Yay, rain.
What do you say?
I'll give you 3 digits for year 2. I don't know what he's referring to unless I'm just missing something. I don't know if I missed it. I don't know. I'm gonna move on, Beatty. I don't know what you're talking about.
Good job, Beatty. That was a really funny one. It was really funny.
Somebody standing out there?
No, I was staring at the camera. I was staring at Joseph.
I should look at the window. It's like, was somebody there?
No.
So 120. It's 120. No, thank you. Absolutely not.
Oh, he's in.
That's what he's talking about. Temperature.
Okay.
It's 120 where you are, Beatty. 120. Are you sure?
Good Lord.
No, absolutely not.
That's a
no, thank you.
That's a stay inside kind of day.
Yeah, that's turn the AC on full blast. No, thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it absolutely feels like that here. But other than that, we're gonna call it for the day. So thank you so much for joining us. 120.
No, that'd be brutal.
Jeez.
That would be unbearable.
No.
Especially with a vest on. No,
all right. So we're going to call it for the day. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Everything you guys do in the field allows us to continue to do this. I can't tell you guys how much we appreciate it. It means a whole lot that you guys are able to help us hold this down on a daily basis and keep this train moving. So thank you so much for everything. We will catch you guys on the next one. Until then, stay safe, stay hydrated, and we will see you guys on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Adios.